Hi guys, welcome back to Immersive Sports Science content, not commentary. Sports science, not gross science. What am I trying to do? And in this video, we try to review why Mr. Beast tried not to eat food for 30 days. Now, warning to any younger viewer who might be a Mr. Beast fan, I review content and try and put as much science in as I possibly can. I generally have quite a cutting style. Please don't take it as me having a go at someone. So take a deep breath, strap up, and put your seatbelts on. Going for a ride. For anyone who's watching this who don't know who Mr. Beast is, and that was me till 3 days ago, Mr. Beast is a philanthropist and YouTube content creator who focuses on trying to create massive viral videos while giving away a lot of money. Mr. Beast has been on YouTube for over 12 years. He is one of the OGs of the original YouTube, or otherwise known in Britain as the dog's bollocks. Jimmy Donaldson, better known as Mr. Beast, he's best been credited with pioneering a genre of YouTube that basically focuses on expensive stunts.
I am not eating any food for the next 30 days.
Wait, won't you be hungry?
The only thing going in my mouth for the next 28 days is water.
I've got to put on a warning here, for the love of Buddha, please do not try this at home. Two doctors, in fact, supporting him, were primarily there to make sure he was actually doing it. Also to make sure he is safe. Please don't stop eating food because you're probably going to get unwell doing so. And in this video, he tries not to eat food for 30 days and only drink water, otherwise known as a wet fast. Okay?
First in my entire career that I've cooked something from start to finish and never eaten. Please. Just...
I guess. I'll take one bite.
So you're breaking the fast? I'm gonna break the fast.
It's supposed to be sloppy.
Gosh.
In this video, Mr. Beast goes off and weighs himself every day to see his progress and to see what effects it is having on the body whilst documenting those effects. And in the background, there is a challenge.
And if I for any reason eat food in the next 30 days, Chris, you get to shave my head.
There's no way he's going to 30 days. We're shaving his head.
He's also being teased by his emo friend, who looked like they should have been around in the old MySpace days, or as it's now known, Space Hay. Now, for the love of God, please do not try this at home. Please do not try it. He has a young, questionable audience, and they might just do everything he says. You always get that one idiot, and I do realise this is for entertainment and a mass value appeal, but please do not try what he just did. Or apparently did. Fasting is quite common in many cultures. For instance, in Islam, they do a fast through Ramadan where they can't eat food during the day and only be able to eat food and drink during the night time. Many of them do halfway between where they drink water throughout the day but will only eat food at night, and certain athletes will start their Ramadan much later because of the athletic seasons. If you've been through an operation, I had one and I had to do this, you're not allowed to eat before the operation. That is technically fasting. But what is fasting? In a small scale sense, fasting is not eating or drinking anything for 6 hours. But that's possibly too simplistic and basic. So technically, most of us would be fasted. The term breakfast literally means to break one's fast from when they sleep. When people have their breakfast is going to be individual, and what times you eat during the day is going to be individual. Historically, we used to say, always have your breakfast. It sets you up for the rest of the day. And yes, that is true to a certain extent. But many people, having breakfast first thing is probably not the best. Some people like to train what they call train fasted, which means they don't have breakfast in the morning, they have it after their training. And that works well for them. Personally, I cannot train that well or have a good day without having breakfast. Otherwise, I just don't find myself productive, just not with it. I have to have the breakfast to come and wake me up. And that's because I'm putting in the necessary carbohydrates and other nutrients, macronutrients, being carbs, fats and proteins, I need throughout the day. Breakfast potentially is the most important meal, depending on your eating protocol, your eating style, and when you decide to eat, when you want breakfast, and what time of day and what activities you are doing. So it's not just one hard fast rule. How many times you eat in a day is going to vary. Some people might eat 3 times a day, some people eat 2. Historically speaking, when we was going through the medieval period and other periods of history, they would only have basically 1 meal in winter because there was less foods available, and then 2 meals in summer. But we don't live in that era anymore. We produce more food per person than we'll ever eat. And most of that is stuck in the Ukrainian ports. How many meals a day you have is going to vary. Generally, we have a set guidelines, give you a rough idea of how many calories a day. Calories is a measure of energy, and it's the most useful, most common one that people understand. The other one is to use kilojoules, which is probably more accurate, but for the average person, doesn't really mean anything. Kilojoules is the metric version of calories. And how many calories a day you have is going to vary depending on your height, whether you're male or whether you're female. Males will have this amount, whereas females on average are recommended this amount. There are other factors that affect how many calories you're. For instance, Polynesians will generally need more. If you're taller, if you've got bigger muscle, you might need less calories if you're obese. If you have metabolic issues, so forth and so forth. But likewise, if you have too many calories, you'll put weight on. If you have not enough calories, you'll end up decreasing one's weight. Think of it like a scale inside your body. No, you haven't swallowed a scale, just, yeah. Now, nutrition, physical activity and exercise will decrease one's body mass. Put it simply, if you're expending more calories than you're putting in, you will lose weight regardless of who you are. Bit simplistic, but that's what it is. If you're not eating as many calories, in this case, Mr. Beast is having 0, well, he says he's having 0, then you're likely going to lose weight. And this is one of the problems I have with this video in particular. They're utilizing weight as to show progress. And it is an easy one to do. You can physically see how many pounds they're losing. And we don't really see what effects it's having inside his body. What is his body doing? Now, when you're losing weight, it can have effect on your organs. For instance, ultra distance runners, their stomachs actually decrease. We get muscle wastage. Basically, the body will eventually over time try to protect the vital organs and try to get energy somehow. You can't just tell your body, by the way, I'm just eating nothing for 30 days, so carry on being like you are. So it will try and strip as much energy it can from the muscles, and when it's got through that energy, it will then break down the muscles and use that as energy. Mr. Beast also decided to go and play a game of basketball, which is not a very good idea, especially when you are fasting. Generally necessary might not have the energy to be able to complete that, therefore making you feel more tired. And in extreme situations, it can be potentially life-threatening.
I had a whole team of doctors watching me every single day. They kept track of all my vitals like these to ensure I didn't have a heart attack or worse.
When extreme fasting, this can potentially lead to potential organ failure. This can ultimately lead to death. The things they were looking for in particular were leptin levels, fat levels, but also looking at the electrolyte levels to see if he was actually functioning properly. The production was actually very well done. Now, I know much of my audience will find it very disorientating and the style very cliche, boring and amateur production value. Unless it has good production quality and meets its audience need, that being young children.
If a fly flies into your mouth because your mouth is open and you accidentally swallow it, does that count as eating?
Probably.
Yeah, we're that serious.
Thumbnails were very photoshopped but very YouTubey in the way they look. And this kind of meets that kind of audience want. Highly exaggerated, highly emotion shown upon the face. And it's something that a sports scientist or anyone in the science field will balk at. It probably break a lot of their ethical guidelines in terms of exaggeration. Nonetheless, it has the desired effect of making you click it.
Let's go see how much weight I've lost.
The minor use of graphics in this particular production was really good, as well as the set design. What was also really good is that the warnings and disclaimers were pretty obvious, although not necessarily that clear. In synopsis, Mr. Beast's video is rather exciting to a certain audience and is very well produced and amazingly quick in terms of its pace as well as the speed of the content. It does have disclaimers to do with health, which is really good, though it could have gone into more depth as to why this is bad for you, why you shouldn't do this, and as well as just playing up on the entertainment value provided by his friend. The Justin Bieber lookalike, who was the head honcho of his mates, main role was to torment him with as much food as possible and with a shaver before clearing off listening to Jewish Leaper and Billie Eilish on the way home, probably being picked up by his mum.
For any reason, eat food in the next 30 days, you get to shave my head.
This is because he has a young audience who are very sociably suggestible. Not saying that they would be suggested to do this from the video, but they can be. Had an okay production value, but a good to okay production quality. All in all, due to the lack of scientific information, I have to give this an 80.73 KSA score.